Lord, be with us on this day, and in thy presence may we evermore adore thee. And Lord, be near and show thy way, that we may follow in the path you choose.
Lord, be with us on this day.
Lord,
Thus
with
a humble heart we raise our mortal voices. And Lord, let us not go astray, for we are ever filled with doubt and with temptation. Help us, O Lord, to love and understand all thy ways, both great and small. Lead us this day, O Lord, we humbly pray, so that we may heed thy call. Lord, be with us on this day, and in thy presence may we evermore adore thee. And Lord, be near and show thy way, that we may follow in the path you choose. Amen.
Hello and welcome to the Santa Anita Church in Arcadia, California. I'm your senior minister, Reverend Terry Keenan, and I'm welcoming you here today because none of you are here in the audience because all the churches, pretty much all the churches, are closed to public. But the message goes out, and the message of love and compassion and helping. So I'm asking you today to take the words that we give you, to take the message we give you, and share it with others. Because as we walk this journey in life, we can at times be tossed and turned by conditions and circumstances. And we can occasionally get thrown off course and lose our way. We can, now and then, even forget who we are, right? With all the world now and experiencing this pandemic, I'm pretty sure most of us know what I'm talking about here. I'd like to give you our inspirational reading for the day and then go into our message. Our first inspirational reading is from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 10, verses 11 through 14. And in that part of the Bible it said, "Whatever city or town you enter, ask who is trustworthy in it, and remain there until you leave. And when you enter into the house, salute the family. And if the family is trustworthy, your salutation of peace shall come upon it. But if it is not trustworthy, your salutation shall return to you. Whoever will not welcome you and will not listen to your words when you leave the house or the village, shake off the sand from your feet." Our second reading comes from The Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes, page 440. And it said, "But Jesus was wise in the ways of the world, as well as in heavenly wisdom, and he counseled his followers against attempting to help people when they wished no help. He said, 'And when you come into the house, salute it. And if the house is worthy, let your peace come upon it. But if it is not worthy, let your peace return to you.' This is the lesson which sincere students of truth often discover to their great chagrin. People do not always receive their message, and when this happens, there should be no controversy, no argument, and no sense of disturbance, but abiding in the convictions of the ultimate acceptance of faith by all. they should let their peace return unto themselves and go calmly on their way, undisturbed, unprejudiced, non-combative, but certain of themselves, certain of the truth upon which they stand. And we end this period always with our service by having an affirmation. And the affirmation for this week is, I contend with none, argue with none, and am filled with wonderful peace and light. There's no uncertainty about the future, and no fear as a result of my past. I live in an eternal now, which is filled with good alone. Goodness and beauty follow me. Peace and joy accompany me. Happiness and wholeness fill my entire being with the realization of love and perfection. And may we be blessed with a further understanding of these words.
I, the Lord of sea and sky, I have heard my people cry, all who dwell in dark and sin, my hand will save. I who made the stars of night, I will make their darkness bright. Who will bear my light to them? Whom shall I send?
Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? Have I heard you calling in the night? I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart. By the Lord of snow and rain, I have borne my people's pain. I have wept for love of them, they turn away. I will break their hearts of stone, give them hearts for love alone. I will speak my word to them, whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart.
I, the Lord of wind and flame, I will tend the poor and lame. I will set a feast for them, my hand will save.
Finest bread I will provide, till their hearts be satisfied. I will give my life to them, whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me.
is a good month for you, because each week this month we are returning home. And we are using the following words from Ernest Holmes from his book Observations as our anchor idea. And in that quote, Dr. Holmes said, "First at home, in the silence of our own thought, let us heal ourselves of fear, of doubt, of uncertainty. Let our lives be peaceful. Let our lives be whole. Then shall that peace which is God abiding within us radiate from us." So today we continue our journey by returning home to peace, even when we are in the midst of change, the likes of which many of us have never experienced or imagined we ever would. Over the next few weeks, we're going to examine the importance of peace in our lives and a few keys to discovering or rediscovering it. Today, I think I have found inner peace. A life coach recently told me the way to achieve inner peace was to finish things I had started. So yesterday, I finished a pizza, a carton of Ben & Jerry's ice cream, and a box of chocolate candy, and I do feel much, much better already. Well, maybe that isn't the way to peace, but there is a way. And today we're going to take a look at it. It's simple, very simple, yet deeply profound. The mystics and the spiritual masters of antiquity have known it. They've taught it. They've shared it. And most of us don't get it. Here it is. If you want peace, then you must choose peace. You must make the choice to return home to peace. Whether we mean peace in the family, peace in the job, peace in the church, peace in the community, peace in the world, peace begins with a conscious choice made by you, each individual. Some clever person once said, peace is an inside job. And they're right. It's a one person at a time job. Thich Nhat Hanh's book, Peace is Every Step, like nearly everything else he writes, is an amazingly beautiful study of this idea. And the foreword of this book was written by the Dalai Lama, and here's what he said. Although attempting to bring about world peace through the internal transformation of individuals may seem difficult, it is the only way. Peace must be developed within. And I believe that love, compassion, and altruism are the fundamental bases for peace. Once these qualities are developed within an individual, he or she is then able to create an atmosphere of peace and harmony. And this atmosphere can be expanded and extended from the individual to his family, from the family to the community, and eventually to the whole world. And his words remind me of a profoundly beautiful Chinese proverb. And it says, if there is light in the soul, there will be beauty in the person. If there is beauty in the person, there will be harmony in the house. If there is harmony in the house, there will be order in the nation. And if there is order in the nation, there will be peace on earth. Here's the fundamental spiritual truth. Got your pencils out? No effect can be held in place without a cause to sustain it. Therefore, I choose to be peace. I choose a consciousness of peace in order to experience peace. In the July 1955 issue of Science of Mind magazine, Ernest Holmes wrote, "Let us realize if the world is to be healed of war and brought into peace, it won't have been because guns were bigger or better or more of them. Oh, we may need them until it does heal itself, but that will come to pass only because somewhere along the line the balance of the scales of eternal truth shall fall on the side of peace. Let us, you and me, pray for peace, and let us make our hearts fit to accept it when it comes. Let us make our intellect and our soul and our will and our feeling ready to receive it and embrace it even before it comes. Let us, in the stillness of our own soul, go back to that ineffable presence which is peace and proclaim it even in the midst of confusion. That peace which is the power at the heart of God. The key then lies in remembering that our power to make peace a reality in our world lies in our ability to choose peace, to be peace. I have 3 ideas I would like to share with you this morning that I trust can assist you in choosing peace. They are: 1, realize our inter-beingness. 2, practice mindfulness. And 3, be only loving kindness. On this first one, realize our inter-beingness. The idea of inter-beingness comes from Thich Nhat Hanh again. Let me explain. Use your imagination now and see a cloud floating in a sheet of paper, like this one. Can you see it? Can you see it? Great. Because without that cloud, there would be no piece of paper. What? Well, without that cloud, there would be no rain. And without rain, the trees cannot grow. And without trees, we cannot make paper. The cloud is essential for the paper to exist. And if the cloud is not here, this sheet of paper cannot be here either. So we can say that the cloud and the paper are inter-are. Inter-are. Inter-beingness is not in the dictionary yet, but it ought to be. Let's take it a step deeper. If we probe more into this sheet of paper, we can see the sunshine in it. Because without sunshine, the forest cannot grow. And so we know that the sunshine is also in this sheet of paper. The paper and the sunshine inter-are. And if we continue to look, we can see the logger who cut the tree and brought it to the mill is also in the paper. And with a closer look, we will see wheat. We know that the logger cannot exist without his daily bread, and therefore the wheat that became his bread is also in this sheet of paper. The logger's father and mother are in it too. And when we look in this way, we see that without all of these things, this sheet of paper cannot exist. And looking even deeper, we can see ourselves in this sheet of paper too. This is not difficult to see, because when we look at a sheet of paper, it becomes part of our perception. Your mind is in here, and mine also. So we can say that everything is in here with this sheet of paper. We cannot point out one thing that is not here. Time, space, earth, rain, minerals in the soil, the sunshine, the cloud, the river, the heat, the sun, you and me. Everything coexists with this sheet of paper. That's why the word inter-be should be in the dictionary. To be is to inter-be. We cannot just be by ourselves alone. We have to inter-be with every other thing. And this sheet of paper is because everything else is. We are because everything else is. Well, that's enough to hold you for a week, huh? But I'm not going to stop there. Take a deep breath. Shake things up a bit. Now, did you get that? Pretty fascinating concept, isn't it? Now, what does it have to do with our topic this morning? Everything. The first step in returning home to peace is to realize this interbeingness. And connected to our interbeingness is the realization that everything we could ever need, want, desire for our peace and happiness is already ours. Everything is already part of us. We need not hunt for it. We need not chase after it. We just must settle into it. And that's exactly what we do when we practice mindfulness. What is mindfulness? You know this. Being fully and completely in the present moment. How often is our peace disrupted because we are regretting the past or worrying about the future? And I love this poem. I'll share it with you. I don't know who wrote it, but it's called I Am. I was regretting the past, fearing the future. Then suddenly my Lord was speaking. My name is I Am. God paused. I waited. And God continued. When you live in the past with its mistakes and regrets, it is hard. I am not there. My name is not I was. When you live in the future with its problems and fears, it is hard. I am not there. My name is not I will be. But when you live in this moment, it is not hard. I am here because my name is I am. In the Buddhist tradition, they use temple bells to remind themselves to return home to peace by coming back to the present moment. Every time they hear a bell, they stop talking, stop thinking, and return to themselves, breathing in and out and smiling. Whatever they are doing, they pause for a moment and just enjoy breathing. Sometimes whenever they hear a bell, they breathe on the in-breath and say to themselves, listen, listen. And on the out-breath, they say to themselves, this wonderful sound brings me back to my true self. Listen, listen. This wonderful sound brings me back to my true self. In his book, Peace in Every Step, Thich Nhat Hanh writes that since coming to the West, he does not hear many Buddhist temple bells. Fortunately, there are many church bells in Europe, but not as many as in America. Whenever he gives a lecture in Switzerland, he makes use of the church bells to practice mindfulness. And when the bell rings, he stops talking, and everyone present listens to the full sound of the bell. Try this. On the in-breath, listen, listen. And on the out-breath, this wonderful sound brings me back to my true self. I don't know about you, but I think that sound is better than the lecture. Now, as you're living your life, what can be your bell? Another powerful mindfulness exercise is a very simple breathing exercise. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in the present moment, I know this is a wonderful moment. Or as we follow our breathing, we can simply say, calming, smiling. Present moment, wonderful moment. Gandhi quoted the Buddha often, and he said, hatred does not cease by hatred at any time. Hatred ceases by love. There's a story told of Gandhi that he went into a village where there was this tremendous agitator. He was notorious for being an agitator. When Gandhi walked into the village, the guy walked up, grabbed him around his little slender neck, and started choking him. The people were standing there horrified. It is said that there was not even a flicker of hostility in Gandhi's eyes, not a word of protest, no fighting back, no self-defense. He yielded himself completely to the flood of love within him. And in an instant, the man broke down like a little child and fell sobbing at his feet. The people around him thought it was a miracle. For Gandhi, who was used to the miracle of love, it only proved for the 100th time in his own life the depths of the words, hatred does not cease by hatred at any time. Hatred ceases by love. And my friends, this is an unalterable love and an unalterable law. So how do we return home to peace? Well, we go a long way toward it if we can realize our inter-beingness, knowing the connection of all beingness and how everything ever needed is already within us. And by practicing mindfulness, staying focused on the I am presence, and by being only loving kindness, having only a consciousness of love. Thich Nhat Hanh offers in this wonderful book a river meditation. It's on page 130 in Peace is Every Step. And this is a metaphor for how we lose our peace and can then return home to it. So close your eyes if you like and listen and see yourself as a river. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful river finding its way among the hills, forests, and meadows. It began by being a joyful stream of water, a spring always dancing and singing as it ran down from the top of the mountain. It was very young at the time, and as it came to the lowland, it slowed down. It was thinking about going to the ocean. And as it grew up, it learned to look beautiful, winding gracefully among the hills and the meadows. One day, it noticed the clouds. Clouds of all sorts of colors and forms. And it did nothing during this day but chase after clouds. It wanted to possess a cloud, to have one for itself. But clouds float and travel in the sky, and they are always changing their form. Sometimes they look like an overcoat, sometimes like a horse. Because of the nature of impermanence with the clouds, the river suffered very much. Its pleasure, its joy had become just chasing after clouds, one after another. But because it never found one, it realized that what it had been looking for was already in it. It found out that clouds are nothing but water. Clouds are born from water and will return to water. And it found out that it was also water. One day, a strong wind came and blew away all the clouds in the sky. The sky became completely empty. Our river thought that life was not worth living, for there were no longer any clouds to chase either. It wanted to die, but how can a river cease to be? That night, the river had the opportunity to go back to itself for the first time. It had been running for so long after something outside of itself that it had never seen itself. That night was the first opportunity for it to hear its own crying, the sounds of the water crashing against the banks of the river. Because it was able to listen to its own voice, it discovered something quite important. It realized that what it had been looking for was already in it. The next morning, when the sun was in the sky, it discovered something beautiful. It saw the blue sky for the first time. It had never noticed it before. It had only been interested in clouds, and it had missed seeing the sky, which is the home of all the clouds. Clouds are impermanence, but the sky is stable. It realized that the immense sky had been within its heart since the very beginning. This great insight brought peace and happiness. As it saw the vast, wonderful blue sky, it knew that its peace and stability would never be lost again. That afternoon, the clouds returned, but this time the river did not want to possess any of them. It could see the beauty of each cloud, and it was able to welcome all of them. When a cloud came by, the river would greet it with a loving kindness. And when that cloud wanted to go away, it would wave to it happily and with loving kindness. It realized that it was one with all that clouds are. She didn't have to choose between clouds and herself. Peace and harmony existed between her and the clouds. And that evening, something wonderful happened. When she opened her heart completely to the evening sky, she received the image of a full moon. Beautiful, round, like a jewel within herself. She'd never imagined that she could receive such a beautiful image. There's a very beautiful poem in Chinese that says the fresh and beautiful moon is traveling in the utmost empty sky. When the mind rivers of living beings are free, that image of the beautiful moon will reflect in each one of us. This was the mind of the river at that moment. She received the image of that beautiful moon within her heart. Water, clouds, and moon took each other's hands and mindfully walked slowly, slowly to the ocean. There is nothing to chase after. All that we need is here. We can go back to ourselves, enjoy our breathing, our smiling, ourselves. And let us in this moment return home to peace. Let us be peaceful now and recognize that peace as part of what we are. And allow that peace to move through us unshaken by the fears of others. We calm their fears. Unobsessed with the anger and frustration of others, we calm their anger. We heal their frustration. We allow this world to exist as we are part of it in the beautiful presence of God. We allow ourselves to be bringers of that presence to all everywhere. And we bless each person with life, with love, with knowledge, with conscientious consciousness that knows that as we do, as we believe, so we become. That is our prayer. That is our reality. And so it is. Amen. Thank you. Thank you for listening with me today. And now, please, think about what you would like to give to see these messages continue. I can tell you for the churches around the area and any place else that are going through this challenge right now, there's not a lot of money around. Your gifts are gratefully received and needed. Let this be your life. Thank you.
Let there be love on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be love on earth, the love that was meant to be. With God as Creator, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let love begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow. To take each moment and live each moment in love eternally. Let there be love on earth, and let it begin with me.
And so we part for another talk. I hope you enjoyed this today. It's one of my favorites. I love Thich Nhat Hanh. I think he was a powerful, powerful speaker. I believe he is still alive, still living in France. And he's a marvelous, marvelous thought and thinker. And now with that in your mind, will you please go out into the world and know that the light of God surrounds you? The love of God enfolds you. The power of God protects you. And the presence of God watches over you. Wherever we are, God is. And all is well. Amen.